But especially as a young person, if all that you see that inspires you is people out of your league now, out of your circle, and you think that that's not possible for you, then that's on you because you haven't even tried. What you think is possible and what you can conceive to be possible is possible, but it will take time. And the only advantage you have at that point in time is youth. And so why don't you put youth to work with the time that you have?
Yeah.
Because time compounds. Sure. Time compounds results. Unless you really believe that this would encourage my habits of saving and investing, please do not think that saving $1 every day for 365 days will make you a millionaire. Learn to generate more income than you need so that you have more disposable income to invest.
Learn to generate more income than you need so you have more disposable income to invest.
Exactly. All money is made from selling something, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Hello everybody, and once again welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneurs Connect Show. You know how we do it here. We interview African entrepreneurs across board. People who are building businesses in different sectors, in entertainment, in corporates, startups, basically everywhere, for you to learn from their journey, their story, their successes, their failures, everything in between. At the end of the day, you're going to go with something that can help you immediately right now in your life and business. And today we have my very own brother in the house. We've gone way back. That used to be like 4 years now.
Yes.
Thereabouts.
I think 2020 now.
2020. Yeah. This is the first time I've seen in person since 4 years. We've had such a great relationship where I just seen for the first time now. It had to be when he came on the show. Thank you very much, Uke, for agreeing to make an appearance on our show with such a very busy schedule that I have.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you.
Welcome. So do you have any expectations for today?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I'm hoping to help the audience as much as possible for us to share as much as we can.
Yeah.
You know, the whole purpose of the show, and I'm a big follower of the show. The whole purpose that I've been able to glean so far is being able to gather brilliant minds, powerful figures, to share exactly what the path was for them and what the journey looks like right now, going forward. And I'm happy to do that. And I think I'm looking forward to just sharing, letting go.
Beautiful. Let's go. Let's get it. So where does the Uke story start?
It starts in very different ways. Of course, there's different entry points I could take you from. But I think I would start from 2016. I like to say that was a very pivotal year for me. So 2016 was one of my most interesting years. That was the year that I began to really understand who I was, what I could be, the potentials that I had, and how exactly I could go from who I could be to becoming, right? And 2016 was that year. To be even more specific, July 2016, I remember. At the time, I'd just finished my secondary education, and I came on the internet, and I was just exploring. And eventually, or thankfully, I should say, I stumbled on the right people very early. And I wish that we had so much time to go into how exactly I stumbled on the right people.
I mean, we could go
we could. Okay, cool. So, funny story. Between 2000 and maybe 12 or 13 and 2016, I owned a Twitter account. Now, at the time, between those years, I had like 40 followers. And so in 2016, I was pretty upset. Like, 3 years, how many years now? How can I just be 40? What's it? So I was, I wanted more. What did I need more for? I don't know. I just wanted more. I felt like, I was stagnated, and I went online. I came across, I Googled how to increase followers on Twitter. And of course, I saw a lot of scam sites, but what did I know then, right? So I went in there, entered my Twitter handle, my password and everything, and was expecting followers. And lo and behold, followers actually came. But then when I clicked through the kind of people they were sending my way, I was like, these are actually not the kind of people I was expecting. And before I knew it, I lost that account. Suddenly, I no longer had access to the account. I was surprised, like, what happened?
What's your password now?
Obviously not. But at the time, I was very surprised, like, what exactly happened, right? And so I was sad that, here I was complaining that I had 40 followers. All of a sudden, now I have 0, right? And so I opened a new account. And at the time, I remember very well that just a few months back, maybe in April or May of the same year, I had started learning how to graphic design using Canva. So I started creating designs on Canva to post on my new Twitter account, right? And just as a way of encouraging myself back, I just started
what were you posting about?
Yeah, like motivational stuff, inspirational quotes. I was just making things up, but they were for me.
That's Pius Maguire.
Exactly, they were for me, right? So I opened the new account, I was posting them on there, and then someone on Twitter DMs me and it's like, hey, I have been seeing your tweets. They've really been helping me too, I feel.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, not sure what happens next, but those were for me, but okay. And so he was like, you should probably go check out this person, that person, this person. And so he just gave me a list of people to check. He assumed that I was onto something. I wasn't onto anything. I was just doing my thing, right? And so I was like, okay, what's the risk? So I went on Facebook and YouTube and began to check out those names that he listed a lot of people, internet entrepreneurs at the time. And so I began to check them out. And my God, was I mind blown that night. I saw it all. I saw people, both people who were young, old. I mean, I began to understand what was possible with the same internet that I was using.
Yeah.
I mean, the same internet that gave me access to Twitter, where somebody from the USA, how many miles away, DMs me and it's like, hey, I like what you're doing. You should probably go check out this person, that person. This is the same internet where people are doing this kind of things. I got exposed to so much that my mind could even handle at the time.
Yeah.
And so I lost sleep for that one night because this was a new world. I was like, wait, there's something called digital, this technology that I began to familiarize myself with so many industry terms and names, digital marketing, this, that, web designing, programming. This was the first time I really got into what these things mean.
This is 2016, yeah?
This is 2016. So thankfully for me, like I mentioned, I had just finished my secondary education. So I had sort of a gap here, before starting my university degree. So what I decided to do over the next couple of months was to invest heavily in gaining at least one skill. Right. And so because I had so much time on my hands at the time, I found myself learning more than one, right? So, but I could assimilate a lot. So it wasn't a loss to me. I would cut out time to study things like digital marketing, block out time to study web designing. And so I was able to pick up a lot of skills over a period of time. Yeah. And then from picking up those skills, I began to get connected to more people, because of course you're not doing these things in isolation, right? As you're learning, there's every tendency that if you're learning from the right people, you keep getting to meet other amazing people who would keep lifting you, exposing you to things that you've never known before, expanding your mind and giving you access to platforms that you've never had access to. Yeah. So that happened, and that was the beginning. That's where it all started from. And of course, I think one of the biggest leverage anybody can have in life is access to the right people. Yes, I strongly believe people as a concept, they make every other thing else happen. Yeah. Right? And so if you are actively trying to get to listen to the right people, there's every chance, the chances that you would win are a bit higher. I think it was Grant Cardone who I listened to one time back then that said something like, be careful who's in your ear, right? Yep. And that, I held that very strongly. And so at a very early age, I was able to discern, I was able to block out negative mindset, I was able to pick up the right mindset, I was able to, make myself open to learning. And funny enough, at that point in time, I was not even looking for anything. I wasn't looking to make money, none of that. No. I was just interested in learning because I felt like everything else would come later. If I could just spend as much time learning as much as I could, meeting as many people as I could, building formidable network that I never had, nothing would stop me. Like the only thing that would stop me at this point is you not giving me access to that information. But now I have it and it's too late. It's game over.
So you're exposed to all of this information right now. What path did you follow next? Okay,
very interesting one. So I'd always had a very strong conviction to create an enterprise or an enterprise brand, I should say. Yeah. Right. So people that inspired me in that light, I would say guys like Elon Musk, for instance, who creates a gazillion number of products, right? And so I wanted to create something that necessarily wasn't me, right? And maybe to an extent, it would almost even have nothing to do with me, but just be a brand on its own. Okay. And so everything or every skill that I developed and put to work, I had it at the back of my mind that eventually I was going to create something, right? And this thing that I'm going to create would not be centered around me. No. It would be a thing of its own. It would have its own life, and I would invest my time, decades of my life growing it. And this would be, it's like life's work, right? The concept of life's work. Finding that one thing that you have so much joy doing that it makes sense for you to keep doing that for the rest of your life. And so that's a conviction I really had. And so that's the path that I took, going into creating a brand, a corporate brand, an enterprise value that had enterprise value, that I could sell it if I wanted to. It had a different kind of value, right? And so that's where I eventually, ventured into. And of course, I did try other things, many other things. Some worked, some didn't. But when I began to go down that path where I had the most conviction, and of course, it wasn't blind conviction. I had seen people do it, and I'd seen people do it internationally. I'd seen people do it locally. So I had exposure both ways. It wasn't wishful thinking. I wasn't trying to be Elon Musk. Right? I could be inspired, but the dynamics are different. I'm in a different environment, at a particular point in time. So you don't want to be delusional, especially when you're young, right? You want to be very practical. So practicality, keeping that very close to you, I would say is very helpful. And so eventually I ended up going down the path of creating a corporate brand, starting a company. Right? That's essentially what it means, starting a company that you can create products under, sell to people, have a huge customer base, impact the world, make all the money that you want to make, live the life that you want to live, right? So yeah.
What are some of the things you tried prior to starting your company?
A lot. I tried e-commerce, I tried drop shipping, international drop shipping, lost my school fees. Crazy times. It was a very interesting story. I mean, I was so pissed. That was 2018, or 19, can't remember which year. I think 2018. So I just learned, I hadn't really just learned, but I was like, okay, I think it's time to venture into this one. This is where the money is, right? International e-commerce, we're earning in dollars. Okay, good. So what does it take?
Big boys are doing it.
I saw all of the proof, all the Shopify screenshots. What does it take? All right, so, and I was like, okay, you just have to create a store and then go to a website, import products into your store, turn on advertising, and it's game over. So I was like, okay, people just buy anything? Yes. All right. So of course I had web design skills. So I created a Shopify account, set up everything. And then I made it my own brand. So I made designs by myself I had to learn Adobe Illustrator at the time. So I made designs on my own and I put them on t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, made an entire store. I was so proud the day that store was ready. I showed it to everybody at home. I said, listen.
Your next $1 million
Oh my God, look at my brand. As you can see, the pricing is in dollars, $29. I can't remember, I can't forget. $20 to $29 was the range I was selling at the time. And so from learning, seeing what other people were doing, I found that, okay, one of the ways that you could try to market your store or advertise was through influencer marketing. So I said, okay, cool, this will make sense. And so at the time, I don't think I've shared this before. So at the time, I had just, been given my school fees, right? So I was thinking, if I pay this thing now, it might not really be a smart thing. If I invest this money in influencer, and maybe like 10 sales,
$290 sharp.
we're balling already. I can pay that fees times 2. So I said, okay. It was a Friday, I took the fees and I converted it to dollars because I had to pay the foreign influencer in dollars, right? And so I had a Twitter friend at the time who It's funny, internet just has cool people. So I had a Twitter friend and I was like, hey, I'm going to send you this money, help me send it to this person because I don't have access to your payment platforms, right? So they're like, oh, sure, cool. So, and before I convert the money, I tell my friends, we're going on, I'm like, by Monday, you're not going to recognize me. I'm just saying,
Damn.
By Monday, if you've not paid your fees, I just might be the one that will help out here. Just so you know, there's something I'm doing this weekend that is changing the game. So I get the money, I send it over, I send him the link. I even ship him free products, right, to put on. And so he says, yeah, I've gotten the products. He gets the money as well. And $100 at the time, 36,000 or so, $100. So I send him the money, and he says he's gonna make the post, the sponsored post by a certain time. So like, our moment is coming. I refresh the store, the links are working, click everything, everything is good. Okay, all right. He makes the post. I see the post. I'm like, okay, nothing has happened yet. It's been 10 minutes. Okay, I see some traffic, some site visits. Nothing's happened, 30 minutes, an hour. I begin to Google, when does influencer marketing return start coming?
Oh, God.
So they're like, oh, just wait a day, at least a day, you should see. So I'm like, okay, let's wait out 24 hours. 24 hours comes, nothing happens. Wow. Now, at this point, I'm beginning to get scared. And so I give it another 24 hours, nothing happens. No more.
Yeah, photo.
At this point, I know it's gone. So I had to count my losses. I was like, man, the people that I told on Monday, they won't recognize me, will actually recognize me.
They will, in fact,
They will
recognize you so well. They will see that something is missing from your life.
Exactly, and they'll ask you what's wrong. That was such a hard loss to take at the time. But it was part of the journey, right? It was part of the journey. I tried that. I had an agency, marketing agency, that did okay, but it didn't bring me as much fulfillment as I wanted, right? So I couldn't stay there for too long. So tried different things, but none of them just gave me that level of satisfaction. They all involved the day-to-day of solving problems, which I really enjoyed, strategy. But I just had that conviction. It was so strong that I would have the most fun doing this, and I know exactly how to do it. So again, like I mentioned, learning what I don't know if there's a concept for it. Maybe I'll just term it sporadical learning. But learning not just the things that you need right now, but the things that you could need later. And so I began to learn everything I could about business, from private enterprises to how to create large enterprises. What exactly does it entail? What do the structures look like? What do the growth patterns look like? I never knew that those things would come in handy. When I even attended Y Combinator Startup School, I was probably still doing things like e-commerce, digital marketing that had no business with Y Combinator and technology and startups. But I was learning those things at the time just because I felt like, I don't know, maybe somehow, what do I like? I always believed that as long as I was this active as a young person, I had nothing to lose learning. I just had nothing to lose learning. At some point, if I don't get to use the information, cool. But if I get to use it, then guess what? I'm already miles ahead than the average person. Whoever wants to get started now has to compete with 8 years of experience.
That's profound.
Has to compete with 8 years of work, 8 years of learning, knowledge, and actual application. Right? And so that was it for me. Like, I did try different things, but none of them made as much sense to me as what I'm doing now.
What's like your inspiration? What keeps you going? Seeing that you were doing it at such a young age, where your peers were probably like video gaming, obsessed with a lot of other things and stuff.
I think I was already too exposed. I like to put it that way. I was already too exposed. If you wanted to stop me, you had your chance 8 years ago. It's too late. Giving me access to all of those things, there was no night I would sleep not thinking about it. I'm like, damn, this person is doing this. That person is doing that. And I also have access to the same internet. And so I was very, very positively pressured, I would say, right?
Yeah, so there's like a positive kind of peer pressure usually.
Yes. I took on very positive pressure.
Yeah.
I wasn't, and one thing I had to eradicate to make sure that positive pressure remained positive pressure was envy.
Yeah.
I'm the first person to tell you congratulations. I don't care what you got. It has nothing to do with me. It just has everything to do with you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I won't even begin to go and say congratulations. I hope that happens to me in the next 2 days.
God, see what you're doing for that.
Yeah, like, no, that's not the time and place, right? I'm genuinely happy for you, but I'm working on me. Right? So I made sure that envy was out of the way, because envy kills really, really fast, especially when you're still learning. Yeah. Imagine learning from somebody who is well established. Okay, let's use a good example. Between 2016 or even 2014, Gary Vaynerchuk, popular internet entrepreneur, became very, very popular. Right? Now imagine looking at his videos in 2016 and seeing proof of work, an actual company with 500 people, 300 people, as the case may be, doing over $100 million a year, and you say, why is it not me? Why is it not you? How?
It can never be.
It can never be you. That's not how it works. Yeah. There's principles that back success. There's principles that back growth. Yeah. And so, as much as there's principles that back growth and success, there are also pitfalls within those principles. So you must be very careful to pick principles and avoid pitfalls. And one of the greatest pitfalls on your journey is envy. Because you are going to see people. You are going to see people do amazing stuff. All I have for you to say is just get ready to say congratulations across board. But take away envy. It is the fastest thing that would sway you off track. It would derail you so fast you won't even believe it. Because you don't know what they had to go through. You were not necessarily a part of their journey, right? Every path is different. The journey you're on has its unique strides so that you can come and sit on the Entrepreneurs Connect show someday and share what it is differently from another person, right? So it doesn't make sense to have envy with you. Just follow the principles. The principles don't fail. It's time tested. Right? It's tried and true. It's historical. Come rain, come shine. It's what it is. When I was listening to the Entrepreneurs Connect show a few nights ago, I was listening to the mega episode with Bruno, Golibe, Franklin, Jago, everybody, right? Praise. And so there was something that Bruno said, and he said, all money is made from selling something. Imagine trying to dispute that. If you're not selling anything, well, is it really a surprise? Is it really a surprise where you're at? Right? So whether you say, I hate sales, I don't like the sales, it doesn't change the fact that all money is made from an exchange. Right? I'm giving you value for something and you pay me in a certain kind of currency. It may not always be financial currency, but it's an exchange. I see something of value that you have, I regard it, and I decide to trade with you for it. So if I'm not doing that in some way, shape, or form in my day-to-day life, it's a principle. I shouldn't be surprised at my results. I should just figure out, okay, where am I at right now? What are the principles that take somebody out of this current position into the next position and follow that? It doesn't care about how you look, how tall you are, how short you are, how cute you look, whatever statistics that the world tells you. Principles hardly care about those things. It might affect you, but the net success that you have, follow principles.
As a young person, you've been around a lot of young people too. What's like some of the most common mistakes you see a lot of young people make that hinder them from reaching the very peak?
I would say one is limiting beliefs. Where did I read on Twitter? He said, if you want to sell a knowledge program, you have to first of all create a module on mindset. And it was just so funny. But it's true because as much as it's cliche, it's true. Limiting beliefs, right? And especially as a young person, if all that you see that inspires you is people out of your league now, out of your circle, and you think that that's not possible for you, then that's on you because you haven't even tried. right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You already knocked yourself out the game before you even try. And something that I find very interesting to even buttress that point is when I started in 2016, between 2016 and now, it's 8 years. And 8 years is a long time to invest into yourself. It doesn't change the fact that I am still very young. But it also doesn't change the fact that 8 years has gone in. So, limiting beliefs, what you think is possible for you, right? And as long as you invest into your own growth over a period of time and you work actively at removing those limiting beliefs, what you find is that you now become a new you that you never even believed. And the things that you now begin to get used to and believe about yourself are completely different. It's like the funny thing that happens on Twitter, you know, especially in the Nigerian community, where people say, oh my God, how would somebody take out 1.5 million to buy an iPhone? That doesn't make any sense. I would never in my life try it.
Wait until you have money.
Just hold up. Just hold up. Not everybody is getting an iPhone for the status, right? I mean, the capabilities of the average iPhone today is crazy. So maybe wait until you are actually in that position where it means nothing to you, right? You wouldn't lose sleep if you make that purchase. Then you can truly tell whether or not you would still hold on to that same belief. Because there's so many things that you do today that you never thought you would do, right? When you go into a new environment, the kind of places that you would choose to stay today is not the same as 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you probably would have been comfortable just squeezing somewhere. But 5 years later, you have attained a certain level of status. You've attained a certain level of, affluence. You've attained a certain level of resources. Your needs will just naturally change. What you hold strongly about the world will naturally change. And that's whether you like it or not. No, it's not a debate. Nobody's saying you would always hold the same belief. You will just see yourself change, right? So limiting beliefs, I think, is one thing as a young person that can really, really stunt your growth. Where you think, oh, I'm too young. I'm 23. What do I know? I'm 16. I have no skill. I'm 18, right? Limiting beliefs. What you think is possible and what you can conceive to be possible is possible, but it will take time. And the only advantage you have at that point in time is youth. And so why don't you put youth to work with the time that you have? Because time compounds. Time compounds results. And so if you're putting in as much time as possible, it would compound. If you were to interview me 8 years ago, I wouldn't be saying the things I'm saying now. I probably wouldn't even qualify for an interview.
I won't be interviewing 8 years ago.
So what are we saying?
I'll be traveling. Right? I'll be traveling back and forth trying to interview entrepreneurs. Exactly. I was trying to figure my shit out.
Exactly. So that's it. That's what time does, right? So whatever limiting belief you have today as a young person, just throw it in the bin and get to work. If you haven't gotten to work, you don't know what's possible for you. You don't know what's possible for you, right? Until you open your store, you will never know if a customer is going to walk in. So get the store opened, right? Start something.
You never know if you pay an influencer and you
right. Exactly. Before paying the influencer, I thought everything was going to be rosy. I'm going to send you money and then you make the post. I begin to be rich. But it didn't happen that way, right? So you never know. But that lesson taught me something that I would then take on to the next thing. Right? So I think that's a major thing for me. Limiting beliefs, what you think is possible and what you think is not, right? Get started and you will see that those limiting beliefs will begin to adjust. It begins to adjust, and once it begins to adjust, your mind naturally begins to expand to welcome new possibilities. And when you go into things, you're not going into things as the next person like you. You're going into things with a different mentality to the game, right?
So I'm going to ask you this question in two ways. The first one is, do you think school is scam? Then the second question is, what role has education and personal development played in your journey?
Great. Personally, I would never think that school in the traditional sense of it, being the forward of school, is a scam. I don't think so, personally. I think that it's an enabler, right, for several reasons. But it's a mass product, which means you wouldn't have the best experience unless you curate your experience. So millions of people, in fact, what am I saying? I don't know, maybe billions right now, but at least tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people go to school every single day.
Yeah.
Who do you really think is sitting out there creating the best experience for every single person? Nobody. Everything is mass produced. You're all going to learn maths today. We're going to send you one teacher. If you don't like the way he teaches, that's on you. So at least 2 people in the class understand it. The rest of you can go do what you want, right? So to get the best out of your schooling, right, your schooling years, you must curate your experience. So what exactly do you want out of school? That's the first question, right? What exactly do you want out of school? These are questions I'll ask myself if I'm to do it all over again. What exactly do I want out of this place, right? How do I come out knowing that I've learned how to network better? I've learned how to probably contest for things. Yeah. I've learned advocacy, diplomacy, right? I've learned, because you would meet different people whilst you're there, right? So what have I really come out as? Because school is, and your certificate will probably say in character and in learning. So what did you learn? Great, but who have you become? Yeah. For you to get what you're actually looking for, you have to be responsible. You can't say, "Oh, they didn't even teach us anything," and leave it at that. Who are you really thinking you employed to come take you by the hand and say A is A? There's only very few teachers who even really care about their jobs, that want to give it their all. It's a percentage, because it's produced in mass. So to curate your experience, you must put in more time than the average person. And personally, it's helped me, right? Going to school to read, study accounting. In my business today, my ability to be good with numbers matters. Because how are you going to build a business and grow a business if you're not good with numbers, right? Or surrounding yourself with people who are, and knowing business structure, right? So in one way or the other, you must be able to curate your experience. You must put in the time to define exactly what you want out of it and go for it, because it's an enabler, right? Especially when you're starting out. What do you really have to lose? The time will pass anyway. Yeah, true. So what do you have to lose? And the chances that you would be better off 4 years later or 3 years later, who knows? Slim. Who knows, right? So what you have to do, just go through it. But then don't go through it like a blind person. Go through it with someone with vision. Define exactly what you want and go get that. So that once you're out of that system and you're on to the next thing and the next thing, you know exactly what you were in there for and what you're going to treat, next. And then when it comes to personal development, which is the second question, I would credit personal development so much to a lot of early me, because early me had to hold steadfast when things weren't working. And when things aren't working, it's easy to give up. It's easy to say, this thing doesn't work. Let me just go back to my regular thing I was doing. But knowing that I've already built up this kind of mentality, I'm already exposed to this and that. I know this about myself, and I understand the principles backing my journey. I cannot be moved. Even when I had nothing, next to nothing, I wasn't moved. I always knew that it was a matter of time. It just meant more application and better application of principles. And two things would happen: time and chance. They would meet. They must meet. Every single day they meet for different reasons. But where would you be positioned at that time? And so at the end of the day, holding steadfastly, right, was one of the benefits of personal development, because there will be times when things don't look like they're working, things look like they're slow, things look like they're stagnant, right? And, just like I was mentioning, when I got one of my first big breaks was because of still holding on to personal development, yet having nothing.
You can talk about the big break for you.
Yes. So, there was a dinner event that was happening, small room. And so I got wind of the event, and I think it was my last 6,000 naira, and I bought tickets for myself and a friend. And so I made a decision that I was going to get there first. I was going to be the first person there, right? I don't care. Even the conveners are going to meet me there, right? So I came back, got all prepared, went there. And at the end of that event, all that happened was I shook hands with a few people, exchange contacts. That was it. Nothing happened for months until something happened months later. So maybe like 4 months later, I got a call inquiring about my services, which I had, introduced myself months back. And I was being offered a gig at the time. And so I said, yes, I'm available to that. Why wouldn't I be? And then next thing I know, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We're willing to work with you. What's the quote, right? And at this point in time, I never called big money for my life before. So I'm scared. I'm like, what if I can't say they want that they will run away? What do I do? What do I say? Right. So I spent so much time. I played the typical, we'll get back to you. We have to go and look into all the things that we need to look into. Until one day, I'd wasted so much time, and they called back, say, hey, we want to get this thing started. How much? Like, just say something, right? And within me, I'm like, no, if you talk, I will get back to you again. You have to say something right there, right now. Yeah. So I called an amount, several hundreds of thousands at the time, and green light.
I said yes.
Said yes.
Did you wish you called more?
I swear. That was too easy. And so I said, it was such a mixed feeling, like, what did I just do? And thank God, once that could have been more, but I'm so happy. So the call ended. I screamed at the top of my voice, like everybody in the house had to have heard me at that point, because I was like, man, this is it, right? This is a sign. But one thing that I realized was that was not the end. That was the beginning. I understood that move was a seed. And so if I didn't invest that seed back into where it produced from, I was going to go back to where I was and stay even longer. Yeah. Because it's not every day that you get breaks. It's not every day time and chance meets for you, right? In that scenario, I was coming from nothing. And so when that happened, I realized that this was the moment to go aggressively into investing back into myself and my skills. And so I did that, invested in my work setup, knowledge base, all of those things to get better so that I could command more. And like clockwork, it became easier, from that point, because now I had leverage, right? So I would say that personal development has been huge for me. Mentality wise, I think having a very resilient mindset, very strong, unmovable, unshakable mindset, although being a growth mindset is really key. It just helps you navigate problems better, right? I remember when, and I think I should be able to share this now. Yeah. I remember when I was going to pitch on behalf of my company at an accelerator program. And we're going in, it's a room like this. And, I'm called up, hey, it's time for the pitch, right? And I'm going to pitch in front of, 7 people. These are senior executives in some of the most respected organizations in the country. And you still have other respectable investors tuning in online. And so I get to the door of the venue and I'm asked to wait for a minute, right? And the program manager, goes in, comes out, and he's like, oh, we can't see your slides. And in that moment, you could have like a million thoughts running through your head. Yeah. Oh my God, would they have the patience? Oh my God, are they already angry? Have I already lost? And you begin to get flustered. Yeah. But one thing that I experienced in that moment was a level of calm I had never experienced in my life. Oh my God, I told this story to everybody who would care to listen. Yeah. That I was so proud of myself for being so calm, like nothing happened. And the next thing that came out of my mouth was, oh, okay, can I resend it? And they were like, yeah, you can. I was like, okay. Then something happens. I forget how to email anything. Like, how do you do email? It's out of my head. It's gone. Because the pressure now began to come, right? And then it clicks. Okay, you go to your email app. And then I go to my email app. I send the thing again. I'm like, okay, just wait another minute. And they go back in, come back out. All right, we're ready for you now. And I go in there and I have the most amazing time of my life, right? And I came back out and everybody that asked me, how did it go? I said, it was the best experience ever. whether or not we get selected. I was so happy. I mean, you could see the smiles on my face even when I was, pitching and everything. Just because I understood that I needed to be in a state of mind that was not afraid, that was confident, that was sound, and nothing would disrupt that. And it's one thing to have that mindset, but it's one thing to realize that there would be things that would try to disrupt that mindset at that time. And so when that happened, I realized that this was the test. And so this is not the time to get flustered. This is the time to apply what you know, right? And so I said, this is the time that we'll be calm. There is a solution here. Yep. It's not a problem. Just what exactly is the solution? And so I asked the question, can I resend it? And my answer is yes. Yep. And then we'll move from there. So yeah, personal development is huge. It's a great backing. It's a solid foundation that you can build your life on. And if there's anybody interested out there, I would say, if you want to go down that rabbit hole of personal development, you had better start now if you haven't already.
So let's talk about your business or businesses at the moment. Now, so is it like a group of companies under one subgroup? I know of GoNomad, I know of Move Funds. So is it like a group, or is it the same? Okay.
So how I categorize it now is, so we're working towards, of course, one parent brand and then sub products. So yes, there's GoNomad now. Move Funds now defunct, but being reintegrated as another brand. Okay. That's coming maybe later this year. And it's going to be the second company or the second product now, right? So by the end of the year, there should be at least two, right? So GoNomad right now is a standalone, right? But sometime between October would be disintegrated into a parent company, and then of course two sub companies underneath. Right?
Beautiful. That was about GoNomad.
So
how did you get the idea, first of all?
Yeah, I mean, when was this? This was sometime in 2020, I believe. Yeah. The whole COVID year. And at the time, I was just online, right? A lot of people were online, who were just coming online. Everybody was online for the long. I mean, where else could we go, right? So new interactions, new people we were getting to meet, just learning about new things. And so I kept learning about new things for as much as my internet bandwidth could carry. And so one day I stumbled on something, right? And at the time, there was this wave of borderlessness, right? And a borderless culture, remote working, nomad lifestyle. Companies were saying, hey, you can work from home now, and what, different things, new concepts, or certain concepts are becoming mainstream. That's the word, right? So things like remote working, nomad lifestyles, digital entrepreneurship were becoming more and more popular. They gained so much traction. And so I asked myself a question: how could this benefit me? How could this benefit the average business person? Where's an opportunity in this new trend, in this new status quo, in this new context of society? Because we've gotten there now. Right? It's like how you have AI right now. There's so much buzz around it, right? So in 2020, the buzz was digital this, digital that, digital this, digital that, work from home, online business, that. And so I was like, okay, where's the application for me? And so I thought to myself, okay, what problems have I faced before doing business online? How could I solve them? That's where it clicked. Okay, I remember in the past, I had troubles relating to payments, international payments, things of that nature. And so that became an interesting space for me. And so I said, what problem now in that space, within the context of digital this and that, could I solve? And so I had to ask myself a series of questions in that time. And then after asking myself those questions, I didn't just go into creating something. I had to start learning it anew, because I'm coming from a different background entirely. I've never created anything like GoNomad before now. And so I have to learn things differently. And so I'm like, okay, how exactly could this work? How would the application of this idea be? Okay, it's going to be a technology product. How people interact with it? What would the interface be like? And how then do you put things like that together? So as much as the idea working around global business, international trade, international payments was interesting at the time, I had to begin to research. So I spent that year, the later part of that year, researching the concept, how the application would be. And I kept doing that research even into 2021, right? And so by the end of 2021, everything had made sense to me, right? So I spent that whole amount of time researching and figuring out what the application would be. And thankfully, I had met my now co-founders at the time in 2021. And so I just shared the idea in passing, to them, like, hey, listen, I'm thinking of trying something in this space like this, right? And, they encouraged me, of course. And by the end of, into 2022, right, we got started officially with the idea, put it out there, and began to push it, aggressively. And so since then, that has been, the journey, iterating, learning, making changes, and doing something that we've never really done before. So now going from where we were at in 2022, just us, to now having a team of 20 people, 3 continents in the world, and serving literally thousands of customers. It's a lot, right? Yeah. And it's been a journey, but we've learned and evolved, right, over time, that now it's as if it's second nature, but it wasn't always second nature. It was a journey, right? We had to learn things differently. How do you create an organization? How do you hire people? Interviews. I mean, these were new concepts and new constructs. Interviews. Like, oh my God, I never knew interviews that much time.
I put out an application, a call for applications. On our email now, I've literally said like 10. I'm like, oh my God, I've seen an interview with these people. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Go to the CV, schedule for interviews.com, you say hello, ask all the questions in the world, make a decision. Oh my God. And then you have to start doing things more officially than you used to. You're sending contracts because you don't want somebody saying, making stories tomorrow. Things have to be signed, things have to be kept official, emailing, corporate. It's a whole new world, right? But it's a world that I was preparing myself for and I'm deeply interested in. And so I decided that was what I was going to explore. Right? So that's exactly how it came about, right? Just leveraging the whole culture of digital entrepreneurship, international trade, international payments at the time, as it became mainstream in 2020, I began to ask myself questions. So if I'm to apply that today, I'll probably do the same thing. What's in demand right now? What's everybody talking about? And then where's the opportunity? Where are the problems? And how do you know the problems? People are literally talking about the problems every day. Right? If you go on Google Trends, as simple as Google Trends, and put in any buzzword, you will see exactly what question people are asking. And to every problem, the solution that you can create, that's your market. The solution is your product. The solution is what you can sell, right? And so when we thought, okay, we can help businesses do business globally from one spot. I mean, they don't have to travel as much as they did to make the same kind of transactions. What if we could create platforms that would simplify those things? And so we did that, and it made sense to them just based off of asking the right questions, taking advantage, leveraging what was in demand at the time. So sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be an overthinker, right? To create something. Just ask yourself, what's in demand right now? And what's the sustainability of this demand? Is it just a fad that's around for 2 months? Or is it a new way of life that would exist for a period of time, a considerable amount of time, depending on how long you want to do the thing, right? So, I mean, we've gotten to the point where nobody is shocked anymore that I'm sending you a Zoom link. It's even expected, right? We're now declining.
You're not huddling on Slack.
Huddling on Slack, right? But declining more physical interaction. Like, can we just do a virtual meet, right? So, before that era, it would have been a little bit weird. People were still adjusting. But when culture has helped you advance certain thoughts, Your job as a business person or somebody looking to leverage that is just to take advantage.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to create the culture. I just took advantage. And so what has the world created the culture for today that you can take advantage of?
Yeah.
There's a number of things. There's a number of things that are now normal to people. For instance, TikTok, right? TikTok really popularized the concept of user-generated content so much, right? That's an agency business on its own. You didn't have to build TikTok. You didn't have to. Things come along, they create culture, and you take advantage of that culture to create your own thing, right? So we are all, using dispatch riding services. Years ago, there was nobody doing logistics, businesses in that light. But then the internet comes along, bank transfers, things like bank transfers, internet payments. It simplifies a whole lot of other things that make some other things possible, right? Companies like Paystack, came along. They make online payments easy, especially in Nigeria and Africa. That's because the internet exists. If the internet didn't exist, I wouldn't be checking out somebody's store on Instagram and willing to pay for something. And then by the time the internet makes that happen, for transactions to happen, something must be there to facilitate that. And then people get thinking. Shola from Paystack didn't have to figure out, how do we create the World Wide Web? It's already created. So what can you build on top of it? And guess what? The internet still exists today. So there's still so many things that people need. There's still so many new opportunities that people are,
of course,
that, and your job is, okay, where's the opportunity? What can I create on top of that to serve people? Take my cut, keep it moving, right? So that's exactly what I would say the early fabrications of GoNomad were around.
So let's zoom in on GoNomad a bit. When you say you help businesses, scale globally or do business globally, what does that entail for, let's say, regular business in Nigeria? You're going to help them do business globally. How are you going to do that? Okay.
So let's assume that you are a regular business selling let's say light bulbs, for instance, right? You make and sell light bulbs, right? You're from Nigeria, and you've been operating in Nigeria for a while now, and you're looking to expand beyond the shores of Nigeria. You want to sell into other countries. Well, guess what? The first thing about business expansion is market presence, right? Before a company like, say, Coca-Cola, right, as big as they are, go into a new market, they must establish a level of presence. And presence means so many things. It means your ability to be known and recognized in that country where you want to sell into. It also means your ability to easily collect payments in that country where you want to sell into. Right? And those are little tenets to what we do. So when you come to us and you're like, hey, I sell light bulbs, I want to sell more into the US. I want to start selling in the US, right? I want to start exporting my products and selling it in Germany, wherever. The question now is, how do we make you look good? How do we give you a presence in the US that enables US citizens or US residents to trust your brand and be willing to buy from you and also be able to pay you or transact with you? So we give you all of those tools. So we'll set up your business for you abroad. Right now we have different countries activated on the platform. So if you want to set up your business in the US, UK, Canada, Ireland, it's all possible with GoNomad from the comfort of your home. You don't have to travel. You don't have to fill up lengthy paperwork. It's pretty simple. There's an online platform that has been built for that, right? Thanks to GoNomad, that's what's now possible. Okay, so with that, the next thing now is, okay, how then can this business sell in this market? You will need payments platforms. You will need banking systems. Imagine if you were selling in Nigeria without a bank account. Where would your money go to, right? So it's the same concept that applies everywhere. You want to sell anywhere that you want to sell into, you need payment systems. So we'll set that up for you wherever you want to start selling, right? And then let's assume that you want connections to logistics partners in those countries that can carry your products. Guess what? We also have the networks that can facilitate that for you, right? So whatever you're selling, we probably know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that would make your journey expanding into that market simpler. Exactly, right? So we do this for African businesses, and guess what? Not only African businesses, on the platform now we have customers from like 20 countries around the world, Europe, Asia, North America, right? Because business expansion is beyond your locality.
Yeah.
So somebody in the US who's thinking of business expansion is maybe thinking of business expansion into Africa, into the UK, and so on, right? That's also a form of business expansion. So that's why it's an all-encompassing product. So anybody can use it, right? Customers from Sweden are signing up, Latvia, Netherlands, right? Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, you name it, because that's what's now possible for the average business person. So long and short of GoNomad is you have a product you want to start selling abroad, you want to start selling beyond your home country. GoNomad definitely has something for you.
Beautiful. So how do you measure success both personally and professionally?
Ooh, that's a very deep question. Personally and professionally. So for personally, I would say that one of the ways that I measure success is fulfillment in what I'm doing. You can probably tell from my voice that I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Right? So the sense of fulfillment that I get from doing what I'm doing and how profitable it is, right? Because I don't believe that it is helpful for me to spend my time doing unprofitable things and doing things that don't bring me any fulfillment, right? I'd much rather do nothing, okay? So fulfillment and profitability are two key markers for me. So whatever thing I'm committing my time to, it has to bring me a level of fulfillment, and it has to be also bring a level of profitability to make it worth it, because I have very big ambitions. And for me to deliver and execute on those things that I want to do over the course of my life, I would need to be a resourceful person, and I would need resources. And so everything that I do, I try to make sure that there's a balance of fulfillment and profitability. Once that I can achieve both of that, I know that my tomorrow is secure. The next crazy thing I want to do is going to be possible because I've carefully mapped out those two things. Profitability, fulfillment, right? That's personally. Professionally, I would say how satisfied, what's the end goal, right? Is there deliverability of whatsoever it is that I've created? Are people using it? Are people actually making ends meet from that thing that I've created? Is it making an impact? Right? Whenever I see a new customer at GoNomad sign up, and within maybe a few weeks or a few months they start earning, globally, they make their first sale, $1,000, $500, $2,000, $20,000, they sign their first contract that they couldn't sign before, they have new partnerships. That's success, right? That's the marker, right? The end game impact. Okay, so how many people can we impact through our products, through our services, that would actually achieve whatever it is they want to achieve? So it's an extension of us, right? We're happy that we have 20 plus people at GoNomad right now, but because GoNomad exists and somebody's able to expand their business and earn more, imagine 3,000 businesses, each being now able to hire, even if it's just 2 more people. That's 6,000 jobs created because you exist, right? So while you may not directly be able to employ 6,000 people or create 6,000 jobs, you could create something that would enable 6,000 jobs to be created, right? So that's how I think in terms of the professional landscape is, what's the satisfaction score? What's the impact score for the end customer? Because I'm going to keep serving people the rest of my days. I'm always going to create something. I know myself too well. And so if I'm always going to be doing that, how satisfied, what's the impact? And to an extent, the impacts can be measured in different ways. But one very good way that I love to measure impact is commercial impact. So like I mentioned, jobs, right? If each new customer that signs up to GoNomad is successful and can hire an additional 1 person, that means when I have 10,000 customers, I have indirectly created 10,000 jobs. And 10,000 jobs at an average salary of, I don't know, $100, $200, $500, only God knows. Guess what? You have created an entirely new economy all over again, right? So that's how I'd measure professional success, is the impact, the end game impact for the customer. What is it like? And for me personally, it's fulfillment and profitability. I always try to look for how I can get both in whatsoever I'm doing.
Okay. Can you share your experience with maybe fundraising, investors? What tips would you have for maybe somebody that's trying to build something and maybe the person needs to take on investors and all of that? Do you have any Any tips for the person?
Yes, I think from my little experience, I could share something. If you're starting out and you have a product, especially in the technology space, that you want to get funding for, there's a couple of ways to get started, right? One of the ways is accelerators. So accelerators are coaching programs. You can see them as coaching programs, mentorship programs, where you get guided over a period of time and also get funded during that coaching cycle. So it's like, hey, we believe in what you're doing. You say you sell light bulbs to farmers in wherever. We believe this is a very good business idea. We believe it's a very good product. Guess what? We would give you X amount of money. Let's say you're looking for $10,000 initial capital, $5,000, right? Like the TEF program. $5,000. We'll give you this money, but not only will we give you this money, we would also help you to stabilize your business, maybe get the first few customers in the door, sign a few partnerships. So that's what accelerators do. And they're very helpful for early stage companies who haven't gotten any much traction yet. So if you're building something, you're creating something, you believe that you're creating a corporate brand, that you want to put products in the hands of people, and you need some funding, looking out for accelerators is a very good way. And also business competition. So there's a lot of business competitions where there's prize money that can be won, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. I mean, it would help push you, just a little bit further, right? So there's business competitions, there's accelerators, then there's angel investors. So angel investors are also pretty close to the accelerator wing. They are entrepreneurs like you. Who believe in funding projects, scaling businesses. And so you could use LinkedIn, for instance, as a platform now to reach out to angel investors. So just literally go on LinkedIn, search for angel investors or angel investor. You would see people who have compiled lists and so many other things. And you can literally cold email them. Cold outreach, right? Which means just emailing somebody you've never known before. And who knows, right? Again, if you don't try, you don't know. So it's a way that exists and you should explore it. And you can get to meet many of these people and learn about these programs at technology events, startup events, which definitely hold in your city. Wherever you're watching this from, I'm sure that there's a program, relating to fundraising, investing, those kind of topics somewhere in your city or in a city close to you. And you can get into those rooms where you get to exchange contacts, share your ideas, pitch your business to these people, and you get funded, right? So there's several programs. There is the Google for Startups program too. For instance, Google has an accelerator program. Many companies have accelerator programs too. There's ARM Labs, right? Which you can check out. There's Techstars, there's Y Combinator, there's 500 startups, there's Nuskin. I mean, I could literally send the whole list, right? There's a lot. And many of these ones that I've mentioned are accelerator programs, which means they are a perfect fit for a beginner, somebody just starting out. You have your idea, many of them, there are some that are willing to invest in companies still at the idea stage. There's something called idea stage where you haven't really done much yet, but you feel like you have a viable model. Then there's some that invest in MVP stage, which means you have some bit of a product, right? And then there's some that invest in the actual company now, which means you've created a team, you have customers, you have a flow going. So if you're looking for any kind of fundraising, that's a good place to start. Accelerators. Hunt down accelerators, keep applying. I mean, before we got into our first accelerator at GoNomad, I can't even count the number of accelerators we applied to. And we applied for 2 years straight before we got a yes. So if you're in the kind of business model where maybe you're not going to make any money until you get some funding, you might really want to invest in that. But if you're in the kind of model where you can make money before you get investors, please try to make money. Because it's possible. You're actually running a business.
Beautiful. So my next question right now will be, you have a team of 20 people now. There's no easy way of managing anything more than any capacity at all. So what lessons have you learned over time from leading a team of that size?
It's a new experience that's never happened before. And I think one thing that I've picked up from there is to get the best out of people, lead with empathy. And that's why empathy is a cornerstone of our company culture, because we've been very fortunate to have some of the best people work. The only way to respond to that is through empathetic leadership. And of course, I've had to double up on my leadership skills, which of course has led me into learning more about how to become an effective leader. And within that 20-man team, there's still sub-teams of like 5 people, 4 people, 6 people. And getting them, every Friday, right now, Friday is like my most fun day, because getting to just hear all of the amazing things that have been happening. This week, the sales team is breaking a record. This week, that has been launched by the tech team. It's amazing, right? And one thing that some of the things that I've seen is people are the best investments you can make. And so every year, I like to announce to the team how much exactly we're investing into the team this year, to remind them that they would remain first. They would remain in focus.
Beautiful.
Because we consider them our best assets, right? And a bunch of, in fact, ask any in every business, I'm sure payroll is probably one of your biggest, biggest debit alerts every month, right? And so we like to look at it like an investment every year. Yeah. And so every year we raise the bar, because for as long as I can get the people with the best mindset around me, the people who are willing to give their all, it means every level of growth that we're looking forward to at GoNomad is achievable, it's possible. It would only just be a matter of time, because the people are committed, right? And so leadership is a very interesting. I've had to learn from my co-founders, Esther and Liberty, so much, right, on how to bring out the best, how to guide, set the vision, help with strategy, right, help with candor as well, giving feedback. Oh my God, feedback. Oof. You cannot avoid conflicts in the team. You must face it head on. Right, and you must address things. So the dynamics of all of that makes you a more rounded person too, and that's why we even encourage everybody in the team to be leaders. So there's something that we do every Friday where a different person from a team leads their team for that day. So there's a de facto leader every Friday where a new person is the leader this week, and that person takes charge of that team that Friday, right? Just to get everybody to see that we're actually doing something here that's extraordinary, and we want you all to be in that position. We want to be able to extend even more levels of trust. There's people who, when we started, we need to do hand-holding, of course, which is typical. But right now, I even go consult them. Oh, how does this thing work anymore? Because even me, I've lost touch, right? And that's been really good to see. And it speaks also to the levels of our retention, right? People stay very long with us. People that we've had from the start are still there till today. And it's just been an amazing ride. So as much as it has its dynamics, I would say that it's a blessing to work with that, with the GoNomad team. And of course, keep expanding it while picking up those lessons, how to build relationships, how to inspire people, how to motivate people, how to get people to do better, to want you can't. I can't drive you from inside. Only you can do that. I can say things to you, but I can't drive you from inside. And so whatsoever it is that you're able to do to get people to show that they are driven from inside is such a huge win. And we have a ton of such people at GoNomad that makes things really easy. My ability to do this podcast today is because I have a great team that I trust, that I completely rely upon. I remember when we were trying to get them to see that we trust them, and they come to you for every little thing, and you keep the only response that you give is, "You are the X of this. I trust you to make the right decision." You don't say what it is. They go figure it out. And every single time, 90% of the time, they'll make the right decision, right? So extending trust, huge deal. Empathy in leadership, right? And of course, picking up on strategy, learning how to set visions, how to direct visions, how to ensure to completion, and how to give feedback. Those are things that I would say are huge takeaway for me right now within team management.
Beautiful. Whew, this has been like a very exhaustive time.
Expository.
Yeah. But I have 2 more questions for you. The first one is what's your attitude to like saving and investment like?
Okay, so I believe that you need both, but do not be delusional. There is an extent to which you should manage both. For instance, start with the end in mind, or I would say start with the end in mind. What's the portfolio size that you're looking to have by a certain timeline, and work backwards, right? When I see ads, for instance, and this is not to discredit, but when I see things like start saving with as little as £1 or as little as $1 and become a millionaire tomorrow, I find it very interesting, because unless you really believe that this would encourage my habits of saving and investing, please do not think that saving $1 every day for 365 days will make you a millionaire. That's not how it works, right? If you're looking at investing, you must understand that investing needs a capital base that can only exist through a source of income, which of course you've allocated a portion of savings month over month or week over week, depending on how your income is structured, right? So the first thing when you're starting out, especially for beginners, is not investing, not necessarily investing. It's actually income, cash flow, right? Are you actually bringing in an income? And your ability, keep investing in your ability to bring new income early on, right? While investing on the side. But say for instance now, when I had my first big break, right? Let's put the figure at 700,000 naira. And I believe in investing, I believe in saving, and I take 700,000 naira at a time to go purchase a piece of land. My first plot of land, so I can call myself a landlord. I just invested in what? Real estate. I'm a real estate investor. In fact, I update my Instagram bio, real estate investor, right? That would have been such a dumb move at the time. No matter how smart or how much more the land would appreciate in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So that's what I mean by don't be delusional, be practical. If you have 700,000 naira, the chances that can produce so much more in terms of investing returns that will be sufficient for you within a short period of time is very slim. So instead, reinvest first, because investing is in multiple ways. You can reinvest you can invest in yourself. So I would always be someone that backs investing in your cash producing assets first, right? Learn to generate more income than you need, so that you have more disposable income to invest.
Learn to generate more income than you need, so you have more disposable income to invest.
Exactly. So always learn to generate more income than you need. You don't want to be caught in a trap. Oh, I have land, but I'm not feature. I have a land worth 700,000, but I am not able to purchase internet to download something, right? So you want to first of all invest. That's how I see investing. First of all, when you're starting out, invest first in the income generating assets, which most of the time is most likely you, right? So invest in your skills. How do you get better? How do you level up so that you can increase your level of income such that you have more than you need and you can set aside more to assets that will keep returning to you, not playing the game the reverse, right? Ask anybody who has a large amount of portfolio today. They started from investing in the assets that produces income, By the time it gets to a point where it's producing so much more income than you need on a monthly basis to be okay, then now you can say, all right, I've invested this 700,000 into a business that now produces $1 million a month. And I only need to live on 250. Guess what? Now I have 750 of house money that I can invest, right? Versus taking all of the 700 that was capital and tying it down into the traditional investments that we typically have heard of, before now, right? So learn to always invest in yourself first, then begin to explore other asset classes. There's stocks, which of course fall under equities. There's real estate. There's so much more, and life is long, right? If you start with the end in mind and work backwards, that would help you see how portfolios are truly built. Okay. So don't get deceived when you see ads that say start with $1 today, become a millionaire tomorrow. Would it happen? I don't know. Would it not happen? I don't know. But what I know that is tried and true is investing in the income generating asset whatever it is, your skill, your business, invest in that first and keep reinvesting in that first. The goal is create more income than you need so you can have more disposable income to invest in asset classes that you don't need short-term returns from. That's it.
Beautiful concept. Finally, again, I like to end the podcast like this. I started doing it lately because I figured that a lot of people are watching this and they're like, woo, this Uke guy is deep. He must have everything in his life figured out right now and all of that. But there's a human side to you. That means I don't really have everything figured out. So what are you still trying to figure out right now?
I would say one thing that I'm still trying to figure out right now is, and I probably would always keep trying to figure out, is self-sabotage. Right? It's a concept, and anybody can go look this up. Right? Self-sabotage. I used to struggle with that before, not anymore, not as much. Right? I was able to conquer that over time, and that's something that I'll have to keep working on, even as I've mastered, the art of winning, both personally and professionally. But self-sabotage is a thing where, or the whole concept or idea around it is you effectively being your own roadblock, knowing what to do, not doing it. Right? So there's an element of procrastination sprinkled in there. There's an element of laxity, like a lackadaisical attitude. There's so many things wrapped into that. But whatever it is, you have to demystify that demon and break it down to its simplest form. Because everybody has something that, and it may be things, it may not just be one thing, right? But you probably have something that deep down is the thing that is holding you back. You know. Nobody even has to tell you. And you cannot deceive yourself about it. Right? So the faster you get to deal with that, the faster it is, the faster the time that you get to start rising, right? So I think that's one thing for me that showed up in my human side, right? I used to self-sabotage a lot, okay? But I had to learn how to deal with that constantly and get the power over and get control over my own life, right? My own success, my own strides, everything that I'm doing. First of all, you've self-actualized, right? You've gotten to a state of complete and total control of your being. And so everything else from there is figure outable. Right? So I think that's how I'll cap it.
Beautiful. This has been very, very insightful. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Now, people want to connect with you, people want to use your product and all of that. How can they do that?
So if you want to go check out GoNomad, you're a business owner, you want to start selling globally, expand your business into different markets, you're a freelancer, whatever title you have for yourself. So get started with GoNomad. It's really easy. The website is GoNomadHQ.com. So GoNomad spelled GoNomad. So GoNomad HQ.com. It's a world of possibilities on that platform. So go check it out. And if you want to keep hearing more from me, you can follow me on any social media platform available to you. I'm available at Uke Jr. So that's Uke Jr. At Uke Jr. Instagram, Twitter, whichever works. I'm on there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Tell them to subscribe to the channel.
Of course, please subscribe and make sure to keep watching the Entrepreneurs Connect show every single time.
All right, guys, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget. Thank you for staying on till the end of this episode. If you have anything you gleaned, you learned from the show, please leave a comment. We're always looking. Okay, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. It's very important that you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. All right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care of yourself, everybody, and bye-bye. Cheers.
Yes.